First of all, I want to say welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. We have a very substantial group of people in the audience. We've been talking about aging for a long time. But let me begin with a couple of questions. One, you've had an unbelievably inspirational career.
Thank you.
You've had numerous careers.
I try.
Very variable. Can you just talk a little bit about what are the characteristics that have driven you to be so successful in so many arenas? What's behind it all? What drives it?
I like to learn something new every day. That's one of my mottos, is learn something new every day. Another motto that I live by is when you're through changing, you're through. So change is good. I embrace change. And probably the most important thing is to be curious. And as a student and as a teacher, I consider myself both, I maintain a very avid curiosity. I read a lot, I talk a lot, I visit a lot, I travel a lot, and I think that curiosity has really proven to be very, very helpful in building different careers.
Where did that curiosity come from?
I was born with it, and my parents were both school teachers originally. Dad, when he had 6 kids, decided he better make a little bit more money than the $12,000 that my mom was making as a 6th grade teacher. And he went to work as a pharmaceutical salesman. So I was introduced to terramycin early on when the local dairy burned to the ground and many of the cows were very badly burned, and he was working for Pfizer at the time, and he got Pfizer to donate terramycin and other antibiotics, which were new at that time. This is in the 40s, and so I remember going and tending the cows in Nutley, New Jersey. Actually, the cows were in Belleville, New Jersey. You have to remember all these facts because you better be accurate. If Instagram will kill you if you're not accurate. So I think the parents, we were encouraged to study and to go to the library as many times a week as possible. As long as we did our chores, we were allowed to go to the library. So I would go to the library probably 3 times a week. And they had a contest that if you passed these reading contests, you went from the children's library to the intermediate library, which is called the Stockton Room. And then from the Stockton Room, I got into the adult room at 12, which was very early. Usually it's 16 to get into the adult library. So I was reading books like Marjorie Morningstar and From Here to Eternity when I was 12 years old. And I had fun reading those books. I read all the classics too, which children do not have an idea about anymore.
Work-life balance.
What is life balance?
Yeah, what is work-life balance?
Work-life balance is something that is pretty unattainable for most people. It's hard. And I work at it. I really work at work-life balance. And I tried with a marriage, it didn't work. And since the divorce, which was quite a long time ago, my work-life balance has been much happier because I didn't have to take care of the husband and the.
There's a suggestion there, by the way.
I have only one child, so that was pretty easy. And she was she was already an adult when we got a divorce. So she could take care of herself primarily, and now I devote myself to my grandchildren. I have 2 grandchildren who are avid travelers, avid students, avid readers. They're avid everything, and they're the joy. They're the balance in my work-life balance now.
So recently you wrote a book.
I've written
100
books.
Many books, no.
As of last week, 100. Wow. Yes. And the 100th book, I'm going to brag. I'm going to brag because when you're old, you can brag. My mother taught me that. The 100th book is a cookbook. But it has a lot of life stories in the cookbook, and it debuted last week at #1 on the New York Times.
So what are the key lessons from that book?
Key lesson.
Living well.
Living well. No, but no, here's another book. This is the one that I really like for the subject at hand today. Living the Good Long Life. And I don't know if you remember the Nearys up in Maine. They left New York. They left as writers in New York City, and they wrote Living the Good Life. And so I wrote Living the Good Long Life, because we're paying much more attention to longevity. We're paying much more attention to living gracefully longer. One of the reasons, my mom was the prime example of living gracefully into her 90s. And she was never ill. She was, she had, the natural aches and pains of getting older, but she was a swimmer. She swam every day. She babysat up into her 90s. She died at 93 and a half, and never complained. And she never really required a caregiver. She moved in with my youngest sister, and she was always invited to meals at the family table. She was never wanted to go to a retirement home. I tried to get her to go to Palm Beach and get an apartment on on one of those nice apartments. I wish I had it now for myself. But she didn't want to do that. She was very happy in her Weston, Connecticut environment. And when she died, it was shocking to the entire family that the church was completely filled with friends. I mean, overflow, standing room only for Martha Costira, who was beloved, and we knew she was beloved, but we had no idea how beloved she was. And it was a joy, and she set a very good example. Very well educated, very well read, very knowledgeable, and very, very, she knew everything that was going on every single day. So that's my goal, is to remain as vibrant and as lively and as pretty as my mom. I still have a few years to go.
But back to living the book that you have in front of you there.
They're lessons. I mean, these are how you do it.
Explain how to do it.
Well, I'm a good example, because I work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, pretty much. I don't sleep a lot, even though the doctors tell you have to get more sleep. But I'm not exactly rested. I just got back from Rome. I took the kids to Rome for Thanksgiving. They're pescatarians, so they don't eat turkey unless I kill my turkey. But we don't laugh. These are lessons, and I have learned how to continue to be an active member of my community. By the way, I want to thank Northwell very much. I moved to Bedford, New York, about 22 years ago. And Bedford has Northern Westchester Hospital, which I love very much. They have taken very good care of me and my gardeners and my groundskeepers. I live on a farm. They have taken very good care of my guests, and so I just wanted to thank Northwell for being so modern and so good. And I did make a donation to their emergency room when they were building their new emergency room.
Fantastic. And I know you were at the gala.
It's important to do that. Yeah, I was at their gala, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have a very interesting gala every single year, and I wouldn't miss it because of this year was devoted to children and childhood depression. And they had wonderful children speakers. And it was very nice. Very nice.
Now we have in the audience here people that are involved in various ways with the issue of aging and how to actually work not only with healthcare, but in policy-wise in general about how to improve the condition of people who age. What do you want to tell them?
Well, we have some really, I think you've probably learned during the conference this morning, all these facts. I'm always astonished when I work with Mount Sinai. That's where my hospital is. I have 2 outpatient wards called the Martha Stewart Center for Living for Geriatric Care. And we are very concerned with the diet, the medical care, the combining the medical records for the people, for diet, exercise, everything that is required to age gracefully. And Mount Sinai is the oldest and most reputed, I guess, geriatric practice in America. And that's what attracted me there.
It had the first department of geriatric
It did,
medicine.
way back in 1914 or 16, something.
Yeah,
and I love the doctors there, from Dr. Sue, who was my founding doctor at the hospital, to the doctors that are now running the Center for Living. We have had a very, very successful time, because people, and I love it when people come up to me and tell me, oh, I took my mom there, I took my father there, I go there. I mean, I get that every single day from people who are using the hospital. Thousands of people use it every year. We have one downtown, and we were surprised to find that there were more people over the age of 65 living below 23rd Street than above 23rd Street. A much, much older population downtown New York. So that's a very busy center. And what we want to do is inform people about everything about aging, about growing old, about taking care of oneself, in addition to accepting help from others. That's the hard part, is accepting help from others. People don't want to go into a nursing home. They certainly don't want to go into assisted living. I have a friend right now who's dealing with an aging mother who's just about to turn 90, and 4 sisters, and the mother started to answer spam calls and sign over money and stuff to scammers, and so they made her move into a home. She's not thriving, and you have to find what's going to help the aging thrive. It's a sort of a sad state right now, and I'm really worried about what's going to happen in the federal government. I went to Washington when we were starting the Center for Living, and I went to a lot of the committees on aging. Hillary Clinton was very involved originally in that, and the government's not really that helpful, and we have to really create some sort of legislation to help with this population. We're going to be over 65. More than 50% of America is going to be over 65 in 2038. That's a lot of older people, and 65 is young now, but it's still worrisome, because there is of course, the mental illness problem with the Alzheimer's and dementia that is, and if we only knew how to take care of these people and help them early on, a lot of that can be alleviated. So I'm working in that respect, trying very hard to help with that. But I can't do it all. I mean, we have to really get a lot of people involved. And I'm kind of happy that we have a president who's 80-something years old, and now we have a new president that's almost 80. Isn't he just about 80 years old? And maybe they'll figure it out. I don't know.
Do you have confidence?
I do not have tremendous confidence in the next 4 years, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have another pandemic, and that will be another test.
I hope not. Yeah.
Probably good for your business, not good for my business. But
one in a lifetime is enough.
Isn't it hard? It's so horrible that we even survived it as well as we did.
The 3 things that in your mind promote good, healthy living as you get older are what?
3 things. Happiness. That's very, very important. Are you happy? And that takes care of depression. It takes care of a lot of stuff. If you can find happiness in your everyday existence. Good diet, which also helps you be happy. That's extremely important. And good exercise. And that curiosity in each one of those categories is extremely important. I have a very good diet. I live on I've chose a lifestyle. I chose to live on a farm, to grow my own vegetables. I have an acre vegetable garden. We just picked yesterday. We picked gigantic carrots. You'll see it on my blog. You can go to the Martha Stewart blog on Instagram. You can see the carrots and the celeriac and the parsnips and the other things that we picked yesterday. They all get turned into delicious soups. And I made fennel soup yesterday with the onions and the fennel from my garden. But I live like that. I really do live like that. And when I travel, we eat extremely well. We look for the healthiest and most fabulous restaurants that serve the healthiest food. The exercise. I experiment with all kinds of exercise. I do Pilates 3 times a week, and I have a weight trainer too. You have a gym in your house. It's important to have that, if you can, and then go out all the time. Have fun. Don't drink. Don't smoke. I mean, a little drink, but not so much.
And happiness means not being married?
No, I wasn't one of those people that had to be married. And I was lying in bed the other day talking to another friend who's about my age, one of my good friends. She said, "Aren't you glad there's no man lying next to you who's all old?" That was horrible to hear, but she meant it. Yeah. I had my cats and my dogs, and I had my lovely grandchildren. So it's so that really does bring happiness. I have my horses; they can't come in the house though, and so. But it's your environment. It means a lot. And what's your next question?
If this was an audience of, well, I'm going to get myself in trouble, an audience of young people. There's some young people in here. But let's say this group is more experienced. But
we have Heather,
if this was young people, what would you say to young people today?
I would say, you're getting old the moment you're born. Take care of every single aspect of your existence. Don't leave anything to chance. I am paying a lot of attention to getting older. I'm really interested in medicine. I'm really interested in what it can do to extend my life in a healthy way. I've experienced in the last couple of years some serious problems. I ruptured my Achilles tendon in my left leg, and I'm still able to climb up to the dome of St. Peter's Cathedral, luckily, but it hurts. And why does it hurt? That's what I'm trying to find out now. Why do I have aches and pains? It shouldn't be when I'm 83 years old, so it's kind of hard to be 83 years old and not have some aches and pains. But there has to be solutions to the problems, and I'm working on all of that. I really think I'm working with some new doctors now who seem to be quite interested in doing really good analysis on what we can do to help me. And it's not all selfishness. It's not at all selfishness. It's about how can I extend my life in a lovely way for the next 20, 25 years.
Now, there was a documentary done on you recently.
Oh, yes. Well watched, by the way.
So talk about it a little bit. Talk about the process of doing it, what you learned by doing it.
Okay,
did you like it?
Well, doing a documentary, I did wait a long time to do a documentary. A lot of people, they'll make a documentary about themselves when they're 45 years old. I had my own TV shows at 45. You could see who I was. You could actually understand what I was doing. But to open up to a producer director in the way that I did was kind of interesting to me. And I opened up my archives. I have vast archives, a giant room full of file boxes that are filled with everything from my kindergarten report card to the contracts for my businesses and interesting stuff. I mean, it's really interesting, and my love letters. And which did you see those on the did you watch the documentary?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Oh,
no.
You should watch it.
Oh, I watch it. Definitely have to do
and it's a journey of a woman, a modern woman. That's how I look at that documentary. the journey of a modern 20th century woman going into the 21st century, and what women have had to put up with. We've put up with a lot. And I didn't center on feminism because I am a feminist. I was an original feminist, I guess, when you look back. And I knew all the real founding feminists. I didn't join a movement, but it's an interesting thing to do a documentary. I'm now going to tell the real story in a autobiography, which I've waited a long time to write, but I have 2 years to finish that. And that'll be my 110th book probably by that time. We have other books to write in between.
Wonderful. Now, let me ask, if you had to go back and start all over again, would you do things differently? What would you change?
What would I change? That'll be in my autobiography, because and the title is "Let Me Entertain You." It's going to be very entertaining for everybody, because I hate boring autobiographies. I think it should be funny, and I think it should be very honest. And what would I change? I would have gone to school longer. I wouldn't have gotten married at 19. That was young to get married. But I would have had more children. Having one child is not good enough. You have to have more than one child. And I would have, I could go on and on, but read my book in 2 years.
In 2 years. One or two other questions for you. One of the things that people who've done a lot of things in their life, one of the responsibilities, I believe, is to figure out how to inspire others to do more. So, if you were to ask to give a talk about how to inspire people to go above and beyond what they think they can do, what would it be?
Well, I think for the last 42 years, with the publication of Martha Stewart Living magazine, I did just that. I really did get millions and millions of women, as well as men, to live better, to enhance their daily lives in a very nice way. I mean, I likened it to we had a circle of all the categories that we were interested in, and we covered each category every single month for 42 years in that magazine. So it was home entertaining, cooking, holidays, weddings, children. It was collecting. It was all the things that had to do, decorating, that had to do with your home and your lifestyle and your everyday existence. And then, in addition, of course, going off to business and what you could accomplish. And when you learned how to make something, you could also buy something, because we started into all our merchandising and providing the homemaker with lovely things for the kitchen, for the bedroom, for the bathroom, for the rest of the house, for the garden. So I've been doing all that for a long, long time. Inspiring, I call it inspiring, and being inspiring and being informational at the same time. And I think it's helped a lot of people. I think that's why I'm sitting here talking about it, because people are interested in what did you do? What did Martha do? And it's very encouraging to me that the public has responded so nicely.
What will you be doing 5 years from now?
Probably the same old thing. Riding my horse, doing my gardens, taking the kids to yet another foreign place. We're going to Namibia for Christmas. They've been to 7 continents. And when I asked my grandson last year where he wanted to go, he said, well, I've been to 6 continents, and I think I better go to the 7th. That's how they talk at 11 years old, telling me about continents. I love that. And I encourage that kind of their curiosity, and I encourage curiosity in everybody that way, and enthusiasm about unusual places.
Last question I have for you is, when you look at the aging issue today, the fact that getting older all the time, living longer. What do you worry about the most with that demographic?
I worry about the caregiving problem because I know it's a very serious problem. There are 40 million Americans taking care of somebody right now, and a certain percent of those take care of two somebodies. It's very difficult on a household. It's very difficult on a family to assume that kind of responsibility for someone who is ill or infirm. That's a big, big problem. We have to cope with that problem quickly in America with this aging population. I sort of like the aging population. I encourage, people say, oh, when are you going to retire? I can't believe people retire so young. I can't believe it. It's like, why? There's so much to do. And why retire? But that's another thing, is encouraging companies to keep employees on longer. I don't know how that's going to work with AI because AI is moving in. So be ready and keep aware of what's going on around you. I think that's something else that I do very well, is encourage people to use social media, to use all the tools available to us to get an audience, to inform and to inspire, to help yourself understand what's going on around us. It's just incredible what's going on, and we have to keep up with it. We can't be overrun with the future. We have to be in the future with it. We can't let it take over.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
I hope I wasn't too silly.
And I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you.
Thank you for helping people live better.
Do you believe that?
Well, oh, yeah.
Okay.
I do now.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, round of applause.